Now, from deep in the heart of Texas, LifeTalk. Here's your host, Mark Crutcher.
Welcome to LifeTalk for March 2010. I'm Mark Crutcher with the usual suspects, Cherie Johnson, Johnny Hunter, Troy Newman, and as always, Father Frank and Janet Morano will be joining us later. We also have a very special guest we'll be telling you about right after Alan Ackles brings us this month's LifeTalk News. Alan?
All right, thank you, Mark. A New York woman has died while undergoing an abortion in the Jackson Heights section of Queens. According to reports, emergency officials responded to A1 Medicine and found 30-year-old Alexandria Nunez bleeding profusely after an artery was severed during the procedure. Nunez was rushed to Elmer's Hospital Center, where she was later pronounced dead. Also in New York, Planned Parenthood President Cecile Richards has been elected to the Board of Trustees of the Ford Foundation. The organization was founded in 1936 by the son of automotive pioneer Henry Ford and has a long history of supporting eugenics, including elective abortion. In 2006, the state of Florida suspended the medical license of late-term abortionist James Pendergraft, for doing illegal third trimester abortions. Well, now it has suspended his license again for illegally prescribing controlled substances. In the current suspension order obtained by LifeTalk News, the state also cited Pendergraft for medical malpractice in the botched abortion of a 19-week fetus. In that case, Pendergraft ruptured the patient's uterus and shoved the unborn baby's body into the abdominal cavity. Well, when emergency personnel removed the dead fetus, it was missing an arm, and an attempt to locate it inside the woman's body caused a delay in her treatment. Eventually, she required a hysterectomy. The baby's arm was subsequently found at Pendergraft's Orlando abortion clinic. Well, in California, the state medical licensing board has caught abortionist Andrew Rutland doing first trimester chemical abortions, even though he is legally banned from doing so. Rutland also faces a negligence hearing over the death of abortion patient Ying Chen, who fell into a coma after a toxic reaction to a drug administered during the procedure. At the time, Rutland was on probation and was only permitted to practice under another physician's supervision. However, that physician was also an abortionist with a spotty disciplinary record, and the medical board has since acknowledged that it violated its own rules by allowing abortionist Christopher Dodson to serve as Rutland's monitor. Medical board spokeswoman Candace Cohen said that the board is now trying to get Rutland's license revoked as soon as possible. Well, in Texas, a pro-choice man has been found guilty of capital murder after killing a woman he was robbing to get money to pay for his girlfriend's abortion. A taped interview with Joe Estrada Jr., 20, shows him sobbing and telling police he needed $300 for the abortion. So he went to the home of Viola Barrios with his hunting bow and shot her through the head with an arrow. In other examples of pro-choice violence, a Colorado man has pleaded guilty to drugging his pregnant girlfriend in an attempt to cause an abortion. 31-year-old Jared Ahlstrom was secretly giving his pregnant ex-girlfriend, the abortion drug misoprostol because she refused his demands to get an abortion. At the time, the woman was 16 weeks pregnant and thought she was having a miscarriage. But months later, Ahlstrom emailed her admitting that he gave her the abortion drugs. And in Gainesville, Florida, 34-year-old Jermaine Jones has been charged with sexual assault and lewd and lascivious behavior involving a child. The incident came to light after the victim underwent an abortion. She was 12 years old and 6 months pregnant at the time. In Chicago, a porn shop, which has a party room where couples and singles can have multiple sex partners, is being run by a former associate of the late mobster Anthony T. Centraccio. Robert Urbanati collected protection money for Centraccio, who operated a massive gambling, bribery, and extortion business out of his abortion clinic, ACT Medical Center. Federal prosecutors has classified the abortion clinic as a mafia front, but attorneys for Urbanati insist that nothing illegal is going on at his new porn shop. Well, coming on the heels of a long list of abortion clinic closings, Planned Parenthood of Northeast and Mid-Pennsylvania has announced that it has closed its Hazleton office. According to Planned Parenthood, the decision to close the facility was a financial one. Meanwhile, a Michigan abortion clinic owned by the late-term abortionist Alberto Hodari has closed. LifeTalk News has also reported on the many legal troubles trailing Hodari, including the death of one patient and the alleged forced abortion of another. Birmingham, Alabama, Planned Parenthood has been placed on probation for a year following an undercover sting by the pro-life group Live Action. A member of the organization posed as a 14-year-old girl who had been impregnated by a 31-year-old boyfriend and caught a Planned Parenthood staffer saying that the clinic sometimes bends the rules. The employee went on to suggest that someone other than a parent or legal guardian could give consent for a minor to have an abortion. In a copy of the report obtained by LifeTalk News, state health inspectors found that since November 9 children ages 13 to 15 had received abortions at Planned Parenthood without proper verification of parental consent. This includes one 13-year-old who had 2 abortions at Planned Parenthood in a 4-month period of time. Lila Rose, president of Live Action, says that out of 5 states where their team found such violations, only Alabama has taken action so far. The state of Colorado has settled a lawsuit in which 2 state troopers and a member of Governor Bill Ritter's staff were accused of violating the constitutional rights of a pro-life protester. The Life Legal Defense Foundation filed a complaint on behalf of John Wycheck, who was arrested at a public park for expressing his support of Colorado's Personhood Amendment. The complaint also listed additional claims, including the unlawful detention of Wycheck and the injury he suffered at the hands of one of the arresting officers. And in a similar case, the U.S. Court of Appeals has ordered the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, several of its deputies, and a middle school official in the Los Angeles County School District to pay $260,000 in costs and fees to the Center for Bioethical Reform. The court said that the organization, which was represented in the suit by the Thomas More Law Center, was illegally denied its constitutional rights when it was prohibited from displaying graphic abortion images on public streets in California. And finally, in a landmark study, researchers have found that sex education which focus on abstinence can persuade a significant proportion of children to delay sexual activity. The study, published in the Archives of Pediatric and Adolescent Medicine, involved 662 African-American students from 4 public middle schools. It found that when students attend classes that combine abstinence and contraception, 52% will start having sex within 2 years, but only 33% of children in abstinence-only programs do so. Despite this, the Obama administration recently eliminated more than $170 million in annual federal funding for abstinence programs. I'm Alan Nichols for LifeTalk News, for LifeTalk News, that is, and you can log on to www.prolifeamerica.com for daily updates. Mark, back to you.
Thanks, Alan. Well, we have got a special guest with us this month, joining the team of usual suspects lurking nearby. Jill Stanick's joining us. Hello, Jill. How are you?
Hi. How are you, Mark?
I think you need no introduction, but we'll introduce you anyway. You're from Chicago, and you were the nurse who originally outed the situation there at Christ Hospital where they were
aborting babies alive back in 1999.
Right. Putting them in the closet and just letting them.
Right. Late-term abortions, and sometimes they were aborted alive by the induced labor abortion procedure, and if so, then they were shelved to die. And I held a little baby who'd been aborted because he had Downs for 45 minutes until he died, and that made me into an activist right then and there.
That's the sort of thing that'll do it.
Right.
And see what evil these people are up to.
They still do it?
They do.
Yep.
They do. They've cut way back. You know, they only abort babies with very serious handicaps that are fatal, but they still do.
It's unbelievable.
They were getting willy-nilly Downs, cystic fibrosis, spina bifida, and now they've trimmed back.
Sometimes it's like when we did the expose on the marketing of the baby parts. Pro-lifers sometimes believe that because we exposed that and it got so much play that they're not doing it anymore. But they are, just like what your situation is. These people have no morals.
Right, and it wasn't just Christ Hospital. It's still, I'm sure you've talked about it here, Orlando, Hialeah, Florida. It's still going on all over.
Right. Of course, one point we need to make is that all babies are aborted alive.
Right.
It's just that some of them are aborted inside the womb and some of them are aborted outside the womb. Right. But anyway, we got a ton of stuff to talk about today. And I'm going to waste some time here talking about something that has nothing to do with abortion. But this, in a way, it does, because it's kind of an example of how unbelievable our world has become. This is in England, but it could be happening right here. They're now going to prohibit English companies who run ads to hire employees from using the word reliable. In other words, we're looking for good, reliable employees. They're saying, we're going to keep them from using the word reliable because, are you ready for this quote? That means they could be sued for discriminating against unreliable workers.
PC.
Whoa. Can you imagine? I guess next it'll be, we can't say you have to be honest.
Or prompt.
Yeah.
On time.
Yeah. Anyway, I just had to bring that. I mean, that just shows you how. All right, we got it. Let's get going.
You know what not to put in your next job description.
Yeah, right.
Don't have to spell.
You know, we are often accused of being too harsh against organizations like Planned Parenthood and saying they're not as bad as, well,
I don't think you can be too harsh on
no,
Planned
you can't. It's like saying we're too harsh against the Klan or something. Haiti has provided an enormous opportunity for Planned Parenthood. They are doing fundraising all over the world to get money that pours into Planned Parenthood for the relief effort in Haiti. And they say in many of their ads that the money won't necessarily be earmarked for Haiti, but we are doing work down there. And that takes money that would have otherwise gone to other agencies that are helping.
Right.
And the little help that they're doing, the little things that they're doing are unbelievable. These, they call them reproductive emergency kits. Guess what all that has to do with?
The thing that bugs me the most about International Planned Parenthood Federation of America is whenever there's a national crisis or a war or some sort of disaster or a poverty-stricken nation, the first thing they do is they think the solution to everything is airdrop condoms, birth control pills, and import abortions.
Right.
It's the most insane. People are starving to death, and their solution to this is abortions and contraception.
Well, it's worse in this particular case. One of the things in the kits that they're disseminating down there through the United Nations, obviously, one of the things that's in these kits is a